Hey, welcome to Life Won't Wait. This is Marcel. We're in the shop at my work. So in the last video, you saw me coming to work. It was a short video. The reason I did that trip was for this garage. So now I'm here for 21 days. And while I'm here, I figured it's a good opportunity in the evenings and stuff to do some work on the trailer. So today's project, if anybody out there does Jeeping, you've probably heard of the Kraken air system by Epic Outdoor Adventure out of Vancouver. And it's a way of inflating all four tires at once on your Jeep. I contacted them because I said, I've got this trailer and I'm gonna go do some dirt roads and I might deflate these tires a little bit and wanna inflate them. Is there any way we can do that and plug into your system? So they sent me, they were really cool. They sent me all that I needed as far as supplies in order to create another set of hoses. So I'll be able to inflate all four trailer tires at the same time. And that's what we're gonna work on right now. So let's go over and look at what we have for parts.
All right, so you can see here I kind of measured out and pre-cut my hoses. And then for fittings, what they sent me is one connector that plugs into the Jeep, another Y connector. This is a plug for if you're only using, I'm only using one of the holes so I can plug with the other one. And then two chucks that connect to the actual wheels on the trailer. And I have this ×2. And so we're gonna assemble that and then put it to inflate the trailer when we need to.
All right, now that we've gone through the parts, what we have left is really easy. All we need to do is assemble it. And these little adapters are really interesting because you can put the hose in, and then if you want to take it out, you just compress and you can remove them. So you can kind of go on and off. So if we work from the Jeep towards the trailer, we've got the long hose that's going to get us from one area to the other. And there's an arrow on the hoses here, so I've decided I'm going to follow the arrow. I'm guessing there's a reason for it. So since I'm only using one, that's where I'm going to use this little adapter. And now air will only go through this one hose and it won't come out the other hole. If we go to the other end, let me find it. All right, so the other end, we're going to use this Y fitting. So now we go from the Jeep to the tire area with one hose, but now we've got two wheels that we want to inflate. I've got two hoses here, so we're just going to plug these in. This is so easy. Guys, it wasn't that expensive either. You can make up these for your own overland trailer build if you've built from scratch, which if you did, I'm impressed. I'm cheating because I'm converting a trailer. And that's it. It's as easy as that. So they sent me the hoses. And now I've got another set of hoses over there that I'm going to assemble just the same way. And that's going to allow me to go out of both Jeep doors, down the side, over to each side of the trailer, and reinflate all four trailer tires. So I'm still having to do it Jeep tires and then trailer tires. There would be, I guess, technically a way of doing all 8 at once, but since the pressure that I'm putting my Jeep tires are different than the pressure I want to put the trailer tires at, I've decided it's best to keep the systems separate for now. Maybe I'll change my mind down the line, and that's what's really cool with these attachments is I can reconfigure if I want down the line. But for now, I think I'm going to keep these separate and do the Jeep first or second, whatever, separately, and then do the trailer separately as well. All right? So now what we're going to do, which for you is going to be in a few seconds, for me it's going to be in a few days. Once I have the trailer all hooked up, I will attach all these, and then I'll be able to show you on the video what it looks like fully attached. But until then, off to the next project. Hey, Marcel here with a bit of an update on where I'm at. So I have been doing a bit of work. Like I said, I'm not gonna document everything I'm doing as far as installation because I don't think I should be the example set for anyone to follow. But I will show you where I'm at. So I've finished installing. Let me show you here. So the whole 12-volt system part is completed. I've got the solar panels wired in. I've got them all kind of put, the wires for the solar panels put together going through the ceiling. I'm gonna polish that up a little bit. Now Charlie said, don't they make that in white? It would have been prettier in white. And she's probably right. So I might at some point switch all that to white. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's a trailer for the desert, for the beach, for out there in the middle of nowhere. So I don't know, part of me is kind of like, it is what it is. But at least I think it's decently clean. And let's go up top and I'll show you what I've got going on. That's where I'm at now. All right, so here's where the wires come out through the roof. So I've put them through these glands that I've sealed into place. Here's the solar panels. So starting out with 200 watts, where I'm sitting here, there would be room to add more if I want to add more down the line. I do have them. And now today's little project, first little project, I guess, is I'm gonna cut these plugs off and just hardwire them to these wires that are going into the trailer, and then the system should work. All right, so everything's connected, kind of zip tied together. I'm gonna try and make this cleaner later on by putting something over it to weatherproof it. That white tape here, I've got more of that, so I'm gonna cover all the wires with that. But before I do that, I just wanna double check that everything is working, because that tape, once you put it on, it's really hard to remove. So I've got everything wired up, kind of cleaned up-ish. More finishing touches to come, but like I said, once I know it's working, that I can work on that. So, hey, just wanted to check in and let you guys know I just finished work. I came in and did a couple quick projects. Well, one little project. And I just wanted you guys to know that the solar is working and it's awesome. So let me try and spin around here and kind of show you. So everything's kind of hooked up here. So now it's just a matter of hooking the 110 to the 3-way switch with the house panel, which I'm going to start working on Sunday. And I'll give you guys a quick update on that. But the important part, like I said, I'm not doing install how-to videos, but the solar is installed. It's working. My batteries are charged at 100%. And so I'm really happy about that. I've installed a little vent fan. I'm not sure how noisy we're going to consider that fan. I don't think it's noisy, but I don't know. We'll see. And that's about it for now. And I'll, I guess, do a lot of these little snippets and kind of keep you updated. So next step will be the AC 110. And then I think electric-wise, I'm kind of done with the trailer. And then we can move on to other projects. I just thought I'd take a minute. Like I said, this is not a how-to video. But at the same time, I figure I want to share a little bit about what I'm doing. So as you saw, the 12-volt part is pretty much all completed on this project. Now I'm working on the 110 side. So basically what I have is a 14-watt inverter that has 4 wall outlets, like 110 normal outlets on the end. And so I needed to bring that 110 to the house panel here for the trailer. What I've done is I bought some good outdoor extension cords so that have the outlet end to plug into the inverter, and on the other end I'm stripping the wires. Now what's important that we had to verify before we started wiring this in, which I'll show you in a sec how I'm doing, was to make sure that all 4 outlets were on the same phase. That means that whichever way you're looking at it, the right pin, all of them have the same color wire on the outlet, and the left pin have all the same, so the common and the negative.
So the way you test that is with a multimeter. So I think anybody that's doing any kind of projects needs a good multimeter. So basically it's taking the negative wire or the black wire on one, and then putting this on volts AC and touching all the other black wires, and you should get 0 volts. If you get 110, that means one of the outlets or one of the wiring of your extension cord is opposite, and then you can't combine those wires together on the same circuit. So that I checked, and everything's on the same phase, which means that all the commons are on the same pin at the outlet, and all the negatives or the black are on the same pin at the outlet. So all the blacks can be combined together and all the whites can be combined together. Now we're not combining them like some people do in a house when twisting them with a connector that you twist on. We're using bus bars. So on the bus bar you have, basically I've got 3 bus bars, one for the ground, one for the common, which is kind of like the positive, I guess, in a way, and one is the negative, and I'm putting all of them together. Now I am combining 2 extension cords onto the same connectors, so 2 blacks together, just so that it makes it a bit cleaner. And then from those bus bars, 1 wire will come out of each to go to my 3-way switch. And then from the 3-way switch, I'll have wires going into the trailer panel. And then the reason it's a 3-way is because I still have a shore power plug-in, which right now is going directly, as you can see here, it's going directly into the panel. But that is going to go on the other side of the switch so that I can choose, do I want it on inverter, completely off, or on shore power. So that's kind of what I'm working on. It's the last little bit to get this electrical system completed. There are some tests that I need to do on the 3-way switch to know how to connect that. I'm going to do that at another day, but for tonight what I'm working on is the bus bar and connecting all these wires up so that at least that part of it is done. And from there, the next step will be connecting the 3-way switch, and from the 3-way switch to the panel. And then after that, I should have 110 whether I'm plugged in or not. So that's the plan. So I'm gonna keep working on this, and I'll show you guys a little bit more as the project progresses. Like I said, this is not a how-to video, but I did want to share a little bit of what I'm doing, because that's the whole point of YouTube, isn't it? Sharing the adventure. I can't wait for this. You know, I enjoy this. I enjoy doing the projects, but I'm also looking forward to having this a bit more completed and going out and doing some camping with it, because that is the actual goal of this trailer, is to go out in the middle of nowhere and do some camping with it. But in order for it to be ready to do that, I got to keep plugging on this. So I'll see you in a bit.
All right, as promised, let's go visit the vessel that I work on. So as I mentioned in the previous video, I was on my way to work. I work as the commanding officer of the Bay de Gaspé. It's a search and rescue vessel, and we do about 3 weeks on here, and then I get 3 weeks off at home. So when I'm here, I don't live on the boat. I live in a, I guess, kind of like similar to a firehouse. It's a building that we live in. We have a garage. We take our turns cooking food. This is one of the vessels that we use when we go out on an emergency call. So let's go aboard and check it out. All right, so I figure the front's as good a place to start as any. So the Baie de Gaspé is 63 feet long, and it has a top speed of 25 knots, so about 50 kilometers an hour for us Canadians. And it's a pretty stable vessel. It can roll over in upside down in a wave, and it'll be self-righting, and we can keep going or come back to base. Now, I've never done that, and I hope I never do that in my career, but the vessel is capable of doing that if we need to. Basically, this boat can go out in winds up to 50 knots and 50-foot seas. It's a very capable boat. I figure I always say, just like my Jeep, I'll quit before the machine does. I think it's the same with this vessel. I'll probably quit before this vessel would quit. That being said, you know, we're committed to our mission, and we're going to go out there and do what we're tasked to do. All right, so the front here, there's not much to say. We've got storage compartments, our anchor windlass. Let's go inside and see what goes on in there. All right, so here we are inside the bridge. I know it looks fancy, a lot of buttons, a lot of lights. Here, let me take these off. So a lot of buttons, a lot of lights. But most of the stuff in here is something you'd find on pretty much any vessel. There are a few things that are specialized for search and rescue. We have a thermal camera, so we can look for heat signatures in the water, whether that be residue heat from an engine, from a boat, or the head of a person in the water, that kind of thing. So we do have that capability. And we also have something that's called a direction finder. Basically, what that means, for you guys out on the trail, you're used to using radios. Imagine every time you press to talk on your radio, the other person had a machine that would point an arrow to where you are when you're talking. So we have that on the vessel. So if a vessel doesn't know where they are, but they're talking on the radio with us, it'll give us a direction that they're in, and we can focus on that signal to go find them. So that's a really great tool for people that are lost at sea. Otherwise, a lot of communication equipment on board, because we're talking with helicopters, planes, other vessels, people ashore. Sometimes we're out of range. We have a satellite phone, so we need to stay in communication so we can keep getting updated information, and we can update the people ashore on how the situation is progressing. All our seats are shock absorbent. They're all sitting on shocks. So as we go through big waves, the seat will compress, which will help save our spine for another day. Otherwise, that's the vessel up here. Now, let's go downstairs and see the survivor space and the engine room. All right, down here, we're in the survivor space. In the survivor space, we can carry up to 14 people. That would be people that we would rescue from a life raft or another vessel that's potentially on fire or sinking, or any kind of emergency on board where they would need to be removed. We can bring them down here. We have 14 life jackets for them. We have 14 immersion suits, which are these big Gumby style suits that you wear when the water's really cold. It also helps keep body heat in. We can heat the space quite warm if we need to reheat people. And we have a small galley with a few little items, some drinks, some sugary stuff, nuts. You know, it's not a full use kitchen, but at least we can get some sugar into someone if they're a little diabetic, or maybe just some comfort food to make them feel like they're safe. Otherwise, just behind here in this door, that's just storage up there in our forepeak area. So in there we have other search and rescue items like stretchers, underwater cameras, different line throwing appliances, that kind of thing. And then now we're going to go through this door over here that you don't see yet, right into the engine room. So from the survivor space, we go into the engine room. As you can see, we have some pretty big doors. These are fireproof doors, waterproof doors. So come on in and check it out. So here you go as you walk in. Pretty big engine room compared to some of the other search and rescue vessels that you might see out there. These are MTU engines. These are what makes us go 25 knots top speed. We also have fire hoses, a fixed fire suppression system. You can see all the wiring over here. So this vessel, if you put all the wires end to end, it's 27 kilometers, so I guess 13 miles of wiring on this vessel for a vessel that's only 63 feet long. We have one escape hatch here from the engine room with some life jackets in case we need to abandon. And then through this door is our steering gear lock. So these are the rudders that go into the water to help steer the ship, and those big pipes are our exhaust system. So one last area that's part of our vessel is the flybridge here. This is where I usually steer from when I'm leaving the dock or coming to the dock. Also when I'm maneuvering next to a vessel that I need to assist, because up here I have a much better visibility of everything that's going around. And even when we're searching for someone, we'll usually have people up here with binoculars or night vision goggles, because from this distance or this height, we have a much better chance of seeing something out there in the water. So this is just a quick tour of the vessel. I'm sure you might have questions. If you put questions in the comments, I'll do my best to answer them. I hope you enjoyed this little tour. It's not really overland or trailer related, but I wanted to share a little bit about what I do when I'm not doing the camping and the overlanding and the trailer repairs. So back to the projects, back to the trailer. Hope you enjoyed this little tour of my vessel.